My name is Andimba Toivo, and I was born on the 22nd of August 1924 at a place called Umangundu, and my father was a teacher at that place under the pastor called Gideon Itola. And at first my father was stationed at a place called Ino. My elder brother was born there, and perhaps the second child of my parents was also supposed to be born there, but his birth was not a successful one. Then my father was transferred to a place called Omangundu. Omangundu was the last place if you come down south. That's where my father was, and he opened up a school there, and he converted most of the people there to Christianity. And they used to walk long distances to attend the church at Okalumbu. Last weekend, Tuesday, somebody who was a pastor at Okankolo by the name of Thomas Nakanyala was buried. And as you may know, in the olden days, people were not registered at their birth. But people only used the imagination that, maybe he was born in 1914, 1915, or things like that. This man who was buried on Tuesday, nobody knew when he was born. My father, as a teacher in that area, he converted most of the people in that area to Christianity. And then, I think at one point in time, he was suffering economically, and he left to go and work in Tsumeb on a contract system. He worked there, and I think he saved a lot of money. When he came back, he bought a cart. A cart was drawn by 4 oxen. The first one, it was Deutschland and Antonio. They were all brown. The other 2 were Sam and Kaulinge. And we used to travel in this cart. In those days, when you have a cart, perhaps you can compare nowadays with somebody who owns a Mercedes-Benz, a BWM, all these type of things. Then I was born at that place, Omangundu. 1932, there was a famine up in the north. And the government opened up food for work. People had to dig dams for water, and the pastor in that area, Gideon Itula, was in charge of that operation. I was small, my mother took me there, and I saw how the people were working there. I think he also fell into temptations. He impregnated whether it's a woman or a girl, I don't know, and he was out of his church activities. But he had some children. I remember the son was Nahum Gideon, And then he had a daughter, Martha Gideon, and the other one was Joas Gideon. There was another girl whose name I cannot remember now. Then I think his wife died. He got married to a second wife, and the second wife got him a lady who is now, I think, in the Ministry of Labor, Catherine Gideon Itula. I don't know, but now she's married by somebody from the Caprivi. I don't remember her name. But if you go to the Ministry of Labor, she's there. During the liberation struggle, she was involved in trade unionists with the late secretary of trade unions, Jonia Otto. Jonia Otto's son is also working with the Minister of Labor, and his name is Penda Ya Otto. He's there. Then from there, 1932, my father was transferred to the mission church at Onaina, 1932. In 1935, my elder brother died. As I said, at one point in time, my father went to work at Tsume mine. And I think health facilities were not good at that time. He contracted TB. 1932, the TB attacked him, and he was admitted at Onachukwe Hospital. I was looking after him. And the same year, my elder brother died, and followed by the death of my father. In those days, when the husband dies, the widow has to leave that place, because the place they occupied was not theirs. Although they paid something, it was only for them, for their use, until perhaps the husband dies. If the husband dies, then the woman has to move. If she has no means to pay for the use of that land. So my mother moved from that land, and he went to somebody they looked after when he was younger, near Onaina. That was David Ndapopua. David Ndapopua was originally from northeast of Angola. And in those days, German time, people from Angola, from northern Rhodesia, they all came to work in Namibia through the company called Wenela. Wenela, it was a contracting company that used to contract people to come and work either in Southwest Africa or mainly in the mines in South Africa. If you go to Katima now, you find a place called Wenela, where these people used to go through from Zambia into Katima, and then they were recruited for the mines in South Africa. That's why I tell my colleagues that even in South Africa, that your country has been developed by the contract laborers from northern and southern Rhodesia, from Angola, from Southwest Africa, from Congo, Brazzaville, from Congo, Kinshasa, and from Uganda, Kenya, Malawi, those are the people who developed your countries. Otherwise, perhaps you wouldn't be what you are today. These people used to go and work in South Africa under a contract system. Even myself, but my objective was quite different, because I went to South Africa in 1951, not to work in the mines. My aim and objective was to go to Cape Town. But I said, I'm not going to suffer, I'm going to use this Wenela system to get there. And I succeeded in doing that. We were 4. It was myself, somebody from Ondawa like myself, and somebody, Jacob Kuhangwa, and Sylvanus Mashindanga. We were 4. I mobilized them. And by then, I had already been at... I served in the Second World War for a year. After that, I went to work on a farm. The farm is, it is in Kalkveld. Kalkveld is in the district of Otjiwarongo. That was 1944-45. The owner of the farm, Mr. Lensen, a German, he was in Kalkfontein in detention. All the Germans who were supporters of Hitler, they were rounded up and taken to Koffiefontein in the Orange Free State. But before he left, his 3 or 2 sons, he sent them to Germany to go and help Hitler. When I came to work on the farm, there was only the wife and the daughter. And my intention was not to work there, as I indicated earlier, but was just to use this system, and I desired to go to Swakopmund, because we were looking for economic survival, and our intention was to go to Swakopmund. This is a different story, not the one I mentioned earlier, that we were 4. At this time, we were 3. I mobilized 3 of my friends, and they all served in the Second World War. After the demobilization, we were told we must stay at home and wait for our money. I stayed there for about a year. No money came. And I went to see a friend of mine who was at a school, and he was a nephew of a pastor. And I said, no, man, let's go to Johannesburg. He said, no. That was about June, July. And he said, no, I cannot leave the school now. If I leave the school, my uncle will be angry with me. Let's wait until about December when the school closes. I said, no, man, I've been sitting idle, doing nothing. I cannot wait until December. Then I went to organize these 3 friends of mine. And I said, let's go to Swakopmund. And we are not going to use any other system but this contract system. We must be recruited as farm workers. And when we are recruited, then we shall desert and go to Swakopmund, because they said that in Swakopmund people had better salaries than in any other places. Okay, we were recruited. And then, fortunately for us, the 3 of us were sent to adjacent farms, as I understood. The 2 of us were sent to the same farm of this Mr. Lensen. And there was only a wife and a daughter, as I indicated earlier. But the man was in detention at the Koffiefontein in Orange Free State. But the working condition there was not good, but tolerated that because I was only there for a while, then we would desert to go to Swakopmund. It was a practice of the South African police, even here in Southwest Africa. They used to visit the farms, having perhaps 2 horses and a mule. A mule was carrying their luggages, visiting the farms. I'm still puzzled whether these people were on their routine visiting of the farms or they were called by my lady farmer or what, I don't know. After I had a squabble with the lady, these people came. And at that time, Afrikaners and Germans, they were not in good talking terms. And the Afrikaners were looked by the Germans as, these people. They were not even inviting the houses of the Germans. If he is or she is given tea or coffee by a German, it was in a black, these jam tins. But to my surprise, this Afrikaner police, when he came with a black police, he was invited inside. They went inside. The black man stayed with me outside. And I think by then they had already a story of my squabble with my lady farmer there. When they went inside, the black policeman asked me, "We understand you have a problem with your lady boss here." I said, "Yes." I said, he said, "I wanted to terminate that contract because I had money." And the black policeman advised me, "I'm advising you, if you terminate your contract system now, you will never be able to come and work down south again." And I was the breadwinner of the family. And that story shook me, and I could not join my friend. After they left, I informed my friend that this is the story I was told by these people, and I cannot leave now. Because according to this black man, policeman, he said, if I terminate my contract, then I will not be allowed to come and work down south again. My friend said, I'm leaving. The 2 of us were in the same farm. The other one was, according to what we had, in an adjacent farm. Let me take one water. My friend, after I informed about this one, said, I'm leaving. He used to milk the cows. He brought the cans in those days in Namibia or Southwest Africa. They used to make butter from the milk. People milk the cows and they bring the cans of milk to the household. And that milk was shown there, and they produce cream. And that cream was sent to a bigger factory to produce butter. All the farmers, this was their a sort of income. When I told my friend, he said, I'm going. One day he brought these cans of cream to the household, and he said, I'm leaving now. I said, all right, goodbye, but if you encounter problems, call me. If there is a need for me to help you, I'll do so. Okay, my friend left He went to the kraal where they milk the cows. Then I saw him going to the pondokis where we used to sleep, and I was looking at him, packing his things, and he left. I never saw him again, but according to the story which I heard is that at the adjacent farm, he went there and he picked up somebody else. I don't know if this was the somebody with whom we came to with the same idea to go to Swakopmund, or it was a different person, I don't know. Then they walked up to in the district of Omaruru, and then they walked up to Yusakos. When they came to Yusakos, people there, residents, asked them, "Where are we going?" "Oh, we want to go to Swakopmund." The residents said, "No, you can go to Swakopmund, but you will not stay longer there. You will be deported to the north again." My friend said, "All right, if this is a case, we are just going to the north." He bought his ticket and the ticket of his friend. They went to the north, and in the north he got recruited to go and work Oranjemund, where they produce diamonds. That was the last story of him I heard. I never saw him again, and I never heard of him again. Then after I finished my contract with this farmer, she was persuaded me to stay longer. I said, I'm leaving. Then I got a job in Kalkveld by somebody who was working for the Karakou firm. You know, the Karakou, they have these pelts of lamps, which are being sold in Denmark, mainly. My salary at the farm was 9 shillings for 4 months, 10 shillings for 4 months, 11 shillings for 4 months. And after my contract, I had only £5 in my pocket. I said no. So I got a job with this Mr. Otto Born. I think he was also a German. And I only worked there for him for 1 month. I got sick. And at the end of the month, I got £3, 50 shillings. That was a lot of money in those days. I got sick. I went to Omaruru Hospital. When I came back, my boss checked with the doctor who was treating me, and the doctor said, no, maybe his illness will reoccur again. Let him go back home. All right. My boss told me that this is the story he got from the doctor. And I left. I went to the north. I spent a week in my mother's house. Then I met somebody who was with me at school and who went with me to the Second World War. His name was Cleophas Johannes Itope, a son of a pastor near Ondangwa. And for a year or so, I have not met him. When I met him, he was speaking English. I speak English like fish in the water. I said, Cleophas, where did you learn English? He said, I learned it from St. Mary's Mission. Where's St. Mary's Mission? On the borders of Southwest Africa and Angola. I said, how can I get there? He said, you are lucky because I have a request from a lady who asked me to look for a young man to go and stay with her. That lady was the wife of the late Reverend Theophilus Samtumbangela. If you go to Parliament, you'll see his statue there. I said, can you give me that address? He gave me the address. I spent a week, only a week, in my mother's house, and then I walked. I went to that school. I arrived there, In the house there was only this lady with 2 children, a boy and a girl. And then she welcomed me in her house, and the husband was studying theology in South Africa at a place called Amtata, Eastern Cape. Then we stayed together in that. I went there September, end of 1945. I started now studying English ABC. By 1946, there was a famine there. But the lady I stayed with, she was so kind to me, and I stayed there. By June, July, the husband came back from his studies, and we stayed together. He was ordained, let's say, a deacon of the Anglican Church. Then my younger brother also came. We stayed in the same house. And after the ordination of Reverend Hamtumangela, he was transferred to Onekwaya. Onekwaya, he went there and he took my young brother with him. But because I stayed with them so friendly, their home was my home. Weekends I had to go to their home. But he left me with his friend, Petrus Ndongo. Petrus Ndongo was in one of the Omahang field when Reverend Hamtumagela moved from his Omahang field to Onekwaya. Petrus Ndongo came to stay where his friend used to stay. And we stayed there. And then after some years, I wanted to stay in the hostel at the mission. So I stayed there at the mission. The teachers of English were not easy to come by. We had a British pastor there by the name, who was in charge of the mission, by the name of George Wilfred Diamond. And those of us who were advanced in English, we used to teach in the morning those of our fellow students who could not understand. And we had only our classes in the afternoon, taught by people who were also perhaps who have passed perhaps standard 6 or standard 7. There was one person, David Mwokefina, who also studied in South Africa at Mtata, Eastern Cape. He was one of the progressive teachers there. And most of the time we were just there doing nothing. Then I felt, no man, we're wasting our time here. I mobilized two or three of my friends. We must go to South Africa. And perhaps we shall get a better education there. Then, unfortunately for me, a lady teacher who loved me, she felt that she got a wind that I was mobilizing the others to leave for South Africa. She called me. She used to give me private studies. Miss Fair Air. She called me and said, I understand you are mobilizing the other people to go to South Africa. Those colleagues of mine were Victor Wilho Weulu, and Jacob Kuhangwa. I don't know how she got this information. And she said, I am urging you not to leave, but to continue studying. And I want to send you to school in Rhodesia. Here's £5. Go and buy whatever you want. So I was bought. I told my friends that I'm sorry, I've been bought. There's nothing I can do. The plane came to a standstill. We couldn't move. But this Victor Weulu is, or he was a son of a senior headman in that area of Upayama or Haingu. But before he went there, during the Mandume War, these people came to Ondonga, where I come from, and I understand this Wilho Weulu was converted by my father to Christianity. Then a senior headman in our Ngwena region died, and the Council of Chiefs, they wanted somebody with the royal blood in it. They said, no, there is somebody in Ondonga there. So this Viho Weulu was invited to go and occupy that area of Ohaingu where a senior headman died. So he left, he was there. But this son of his, Victor, and there was not another one. We were at school together at Odibo. Jan, the junior's son. But we were, as I said, planning to leave for South Africa, and this didn't work out. I was bought out, and I developed cold feet. This Victor left. I'm not sure, but later on I found him in South Africa. We continued with our studies, and the principal and the pastor in charge of the mission, George Wilfred Darman, took over the teaching. He taught us until we passed our standard 6, plus teachers diploma. That was 50. After graduation there, I taught at Odibo for a while, then I was transferred to Onamtai. Onamtai is where, I don't know if you met the Minister of Tourism, Netumbo Nani Deitwa is from that area. And her father was the catechist of the Anglican Church there. I used to work under him. I worked there for 6 months, then I was transferred back to Odibo again. Then I was eager. While I was there at Onamtai, I met a friend of mine who was with me in the war. After the war, he went to work in Johannesburg, Durban, Port Elizabeth, and Cape Town. And I told him that I wanted to go to South Africa to advance my education. And he said, well, the only place I can think of is Cape Town. In Cape Town, you can work during the day and you attend the night schools. Okay, and then I also had this edge of seeing Cape Town, because we read history of Jan van Riebeeck, Simon van der Ster, and all these things. I wanted to see these places. When I mobilized now, these for my friends. I taught at Odibo for 6 months. Then I informed the principal, George Wilfred Darman, that I want to go to South Africa and I want to advance my education. He gave me a wonderful, what do you call it? Report. And I left with this friend of mine. We walked from Odibo to Kurenkuru in Rundu. We didn't have anything. We had only a few money. And in those days when we were teaching, the Kuhangwa and I were teaching, we used to get £2 a month, which you get after 3 months. You get £6. So we got at Kurenkuru, and the contract laborers used to be picked up by Wenela trucks from Rundu. We stayed there for about 2 weeks. Eventually, Wenela trucks came, they picked us up. And we went to Rundu for recruitment now for Johannesburg. But unfortunately for us, at that time, people from Southwest Africa never used to go or were never allowed again to go and work in the mines in South Africa, although in the past they were allowed. But since our aims and objectives was to go to South Africa, we used false names. And we told lies. And I'm not saying you must go and tell lies. There are some people say there are, what is it? Holy lies or something.
White lies.
Huh?
White lies.
White lies.
Lies that aren't too bad.
Yeah, we told lies and we said we are from Angola. And we were recruited, but at the recruiting office, as we were in a queue to be recruited, one of us used to work for a white clerk in Ondangwa. They were transferred to Opuo after some years. This white clerk was transferred to Rundu. While we were standing in a queue, this white clerk's wife came past, taking tea to the husband. He spotted this man who used to work for them from Ondangwa to Opuo. But when they went to Rundu, this man came back home. She spotted this man, but she didn't say anything to him. She just went there and reported to the husband. She came past again, going back. Our colleague was invited in the office by his former boss. Peter, I see you are here. What are you doing here? No, I want to go and work in the mines in Johannesburg. But don't you know that you people from Southwest Africa are no longer allowed to go and work in Johannesburg mines? No, I don't know. Well, I'm just asking, but if you meet some problems there, that will be your problem. I'm just want to know. Said, all right. While he was there, we were shivering. We are going to jail now. He came back and reported to us what happened. We were recruited. We got in the trucks of Wenela up to Shakawe. Shakawe is a place between Botswana and Southwest Africa, or Namibia today. There we found some Namibians who were persuading us to apply for clerical work. We said no, we're not interested. Then we moved to Francistown in Botswana. Francistown was the main recruiting center. People who were coming from Northern Rhodesia, DRC, Congo-Kinshasa, Angola, Namibia, in those area, they were recruited there. The manager was somebody who was from Angola, and he went to work in the mines, and he was the manager of this camp. We were planning to desert now from there. It was not possible. His name was George. This man, perhaps after having been there for some time, he went to Angola, got married, he brought his wife there. And I said, I'm not going to lie to this man, I'm going to tell him my truth. I said, George, we are from Southwest Africa, and we want to go and work in the mines in South Africa. But we know that workers from Southwest are no longer allowed to go and work in the mines in South Africa. I said, no, it's not a problem. And I said, even the names we used are fictitious names. He said, no, it's not a problem. Just tell them your true names. And that's what we did. And we were planning how to desert from Francistown camp. It was not easy. The camp was heavily guarded by the security people. Then we were recruited. Why are we torturing this young man? Take this and give him the other chair. Oh, you are an oppressor. So we were recruited there. We told them our real names, and we were recruited. Then we got into our plan to desert from there failed. Then we were put in a same compartment, train compartment. And the man who was in charge of us, I think he smelled a rat. Said, something's wrong here. Because we were nicely dressed, and he said, and we were now trying to desert between Selikazi and Francistown. But my friends, they never saw a train before, and they were planning that we must jump off. I said, it doesn't work. But we were locked up in our compartment. Only perhaps when we wanted to use the bathroom, he could open for us to go to the bathroom. From there, my colleague, former teacher, Jacob Kohangwa, said, let's jump off, man. I said, no. If you jump off, you'll be in trouble. From Francistown, we traveled as far as Mafeking. From Mafeking, we got into an electric train. It was between Mafeking and Selikazi. He was still insisting that we must jump off. And that is an electric train. I said, This one, if you jump off, it's only perhaps your skeletons will be found there. I succeeded in convincing them. We traveled as far as Selikazi. Selikazi was a distributing center for the recruits to go to various mines. We found somebody, the Namibians there, Southwest Africans, who persuaded us to apply for clerical work. He said, we are not interested. And he said, our salary would be £4.26 a month. So we are not interested. Because our aim was to go to Cape Town. And we were sent to a mine near Welgedacht, if I'm not mistaken, called Simarenjek. In that Simarenjek, we arrived on Boxing Day. We found the Namibians there, and they said they needed Namibian clerks in the mines. they persuaded us to apply for clerical work. We did, and my application was accepted. The others were sent to school, to the school mine. School mine is a place where newcomers to the mine were taught the Fanakalo, the mine language, and the names of the implements used in the mines. We stayed there for only 11 days. But fortunately for us, when we arrived there, we met somebody who was with a school. He used to work the night shift, and the daytime he used to hawk, selling soft goods. And we told him, every day you come here, in your bag, after selling your stuff, you put in our stuff. Every day. And that's what happened. I started working now in the compound office, and my colleagues were attending the what is it now? School mine, where they learned the Fanakalo language spoken there and the implements used in the mine. We only stayed there for 11 days. And at that time, every newcomers in the mine, they were given 10 shillings. We got our 10 shillings. On the 11th day, my colleague, Jacob Kohangwa, had a problem with the instructor. When I went for lunch, we met and he said, let's go now. I said, no, I cannot go during this time. Let's wait until perhaps I finish my work at 5. He said, no, I'm not going back to that 5. All right, I went back to my office. My office door was facing the yard. I could see him walking out, and then he was followed. He was only carrying a book. He was followed by somebody else. They left. After 5, finished work, I went to the office, to the Bangalore. Then I told my other friend who was left behind that we must go. And the little things we had there, we left them with people from Namibia or Southwest Africa at that time. We left. Then we went to this mine where our friend used to come from, and where this Victor Vilho was also one of the senior mine workers there. We arrived there on Thursday, spent Friday there. Saturday, our friend who used to take our stuff from the mine said, no, I'm going to take you to my white friend. He's a good man. We have not experienced those skyscrapers in Johannesburg, up and down. And at that time, the bus fare was a tiki. He paid, and we arrived at the office of his friend. It was on a Saturday. His friend said, well, welcome, gentlemen. We have a contract system here, and our contract was only for 6 months. After 6 months, we give you the documents, you go wherever you want to go. They used to steal people who didn't want to work in the mines, recruit them, give them to other mines, because the original contract in other mines was for 12 months, but theirs was only for 6 months. He said, today is Saturday, we are only working a half day, and we shall meet you on Monday. Okay, this man will look after you. Somebody was from Swaziland. And this Swazi man, because we were just from the mission and we had all the mentality of missionary people there, this man looked to be an honest man to us, and he treated us well. Saturday, Sunday, Monday came, and I told my friends, we are going to meet this man now, we must get dressed now nicely, and we must pack our bags and meet him. Okay. Excuse me. We met this man who was in charge of us. He said, no man, leave your bag behind. My boss is a good man. He will let you, no, before that, Saturday, we were hungry, and I changed my mind. I said, no, I don't want to go there to this contract again. I went to the security man, and I said, I came here with the intention of being recruited and work in the mines, but I've changed my mind. I want to go out. He said, where's your domicile? I didn't know the word. I had the word for the first domicile. What is domicile? Where were you born? I was born in German Southwest Africa. No, you cannot go out. I said, is there no white man here? He said, the white man is in that office. I went to that office. It was a Saturday after work, no? There was a Scotchman there. After finishing his work, perhaps he got his gin and tonic. He was just in his short, no shirt, no nothing. Sir, I wanted to be recruited and work in the mines, but I've changed my mind. I said, what? I've changed my mind, I want to go out. He said, get away. The man who was in charge of us, he heard the shouts of this white man. He came. He said, what's going on? I said, no, I want to go out. No, you just wait until Monday. My boss is a good man, he will let you go. Then they brought us food around about 3:30 or 4. It was these aluminum plates, dented plates. I said, and they are dirty. I said, if these plates are at this center are like this, what will be in the mind? I never worked in the mind before. So, this is not going to work. Somebody else came in. He claimed to have been at Fort Hare with Seretse Khama. I told him my story. He said, I'm just going inside, and then when I come back, I think I attended to your problem. He went in. I think they were taking it what it is there, I don't know. When he came, he just came past. Monday came. As I said earlier, I told my friend to get dressed, and we take all our bags with us. When our security men saw us with a bag, said, no, leave the bag behind. My boss is a good man, he will let you go. And in that bag I had about 12 pounds and some coins. And a post office savings book with 3 pounds, I think. He said, bring your bag, I put it in my room. He took our bags. We went to the office. His boss said, wow. He reported to his boss what our intentions were. And then the boss came to us and said, hey, you have changed your mind? This is Johannesburg. And you are not going to, if you don't want to go to the mines on our contract, then you'll be arrested. And then you are sent to the farms to serve there for 3 months. When you come back, you send again to the farm. There is no way you can make it. We had a caucus between ourselves. What should we do now? All right, let's accept the contract. We accepted the contract, and then that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday, we were somewhere else. Our bags were still with that man. We were somewhere else, and then one of us left us, and he went to get our bags from that man. When we came back, this man had our bag. Oh, you took our bags from that man? Yes. Why? No, I wanted a soap. I wanted to wash myself. And then I asked him, did you check everything? He said, no. I said, let's check. My money was gone. The post office was gone. Then we reported to this man. He said, no, you made a mistake. Why didn't you let me know so that I can take a special care for your bag? Because my room is frequented by everybody. I said, where's the white man here? We went to the same white man again. He said, what? You lost your money? Yes. Is it coins or notes? Notes. Did you take the numbers of your notes? No. How can we identify your money? Even if we call the whole of Marshall Square police, how can they identify your money? That was the end of the story. No, if you want to make a case, you go to the magistrate, you are free to do so. Now for us, to make a case, to go to the court, we have no right to be there. I said, doesn't work. We had a caucus between ourselves and said, forget about the money, let's go to the contract. We got recruited, went to the contract. We went to a place called Postmaster in Kuruman, on the west of Kimberley. We stayed for 6 months. And after 6 months, one of us used to work in a canteen of unmarried young people. So he used to work every day. So his contract got finished before us. But before that, one of us, Jacob Kuhangwa, asked to go and work in the hospital after 3 months. Yes, his request was granted. He was allowed to go and work in the hospital. But the very same day, he went there to work there. He worked the night shift. And there was somebody dying. He had never seen somebody dying before. Somebody died in his hands. The following day he said, I'm going back. He came back. And I requested to work in the mine compound office. So I worked there. And then the one who used to work in the canteen, his contract got finished because he worked every day. They used to take off his tickets. So he left. And I gave him, the company used to give the employees a ticket paid by the company to their nearest station. For us from Southwest Africa, we were given a ticket up to Uppington. And I said, you go to Cape Town, take this ticket from the company, and when you come to DR, throw it away, take this one. He took that one, and he reached Cape Town. The three of us, when our contract finished, they said they want to give me a ticket. I said, no. I want my money. I want to go and buy my own ticket because I had my own plans. If they buy a ticket for me, part of the money will be wasted to go to Uppington, whereas I can buy my ticket up to from there, Cape Town. They gave me the money, and I bought my ticket, up to there. But I had my own ticket, which I developed myself, because I used to work in the office, Cape Town. When we arrived there, our friends were already there. And in Cape Town, it was during apartheid. Cape Town was perhaps a democratized mother city, not like all the others. We arrived there, and then we went to what they used to call a pass office. You go there and ask for permission to look for employment. I got a permission to look for employment. I was employed in a medicine production factory closer to Langa. I worked there for a week, got £3.15. After that, they said, no, the factory is closing or something. Then I liked uniform because I was already from the army then. I applied for the railway police. I got recruited. I was sent to Kroonstad in the Orange Free State for training. Came back. I used to work at Cape Town Station. And at that time, Cape Town Station was closer to the Grand Parade. And meetings were held at the Grand Parade, ANC, Communist Party, Congress of Democrats, and Colored People's Organization, as well as the Liberal Party. They used to hold meetings. While I'm working there, I could see them talking from the Grand Parade. Then there was a chief from the north who used to bother me that I must come back. I said, well, I can only come back provided he gives me a job. Twice or three times I said, no, these men will keep on bothering me. So I resigned from the railway police. And I worked in a furniture shop closer to Huroskir Hospital. 1954, lunchtime, I met a girl. This girl was from Katie, was her name, colored, as they call them, was from Dennis Goldberg's house, and she was giving out leaflets. And these leaflets were inviting people to go to Hout Bay during the Easter weekend. Transport was prepared by the ANC, Congress of Democrats, and the Colored People's Organization. So I got this leaflet and I went to my flat, persuaded my two friends to go to this picnic during the Easter holidays. That was the time I saw people of racial groups mingling freely. There were people like Dennis Goldberg, Albissex, Dr. Professor Jack Simons, and others. People were mingling for the first time to see people of different racial groups mixing freely. And from there, I never missed meetings called by these groups, ANC, Congress of Democrats, and Colored People's Organizations. Then from there, we had, I joined a Modern Youth Society. Dennis Goldberg was the chairman and I was the vice chairman. If I remember correctly, we used to meet twice or thrice a week. And And then I think, because it was at the time of apartheid, I think the owner of the building where we used to meet was threatened by the apartheid system, that if you don't close this, where all the people of different racial groups meet, we are going to take away your license, business license. Even Dennis, he says he doesn't know what happened. Our modern youth society came to an end. Then, 1954, Murumba Kerina, who is here, was a student at Lincoln University. He applied to, as a student from Southwest Africa, he applied to go and give oral evidence to the General Assembly. This was granted, and he spoke there, and it was a big news in the New York Times. I saw this thing, and I wrote to him. We started now corresponding, and there was also somebody at Fort Hare called Jarile Tundukodongwidi from here, and he also wanted to go and give oral hearing to the General Assembly, but his application didn't succeed. But his address appeared in the papers, and I started now communicating with him. So I was communicating with both. 1957, I founded what I called Obama People's Congress on the 2nd of August. And all the people from Southwest Africa who were with me in Cape Town, they were members of this organization. We used to meet in a barber shop owned by people from here. One was a senior member, was computers affected by virus. The other was Joseph Philemon. He was a junior partner. We used to meet pretending to go for haircuts, but we used to talk politics there. And that building is in Somerset Road, number 35. If you leave the center of Cape Town to Sea Point, it's on your left-hand side. And near that building, there is a church. 3-4 years ago, I went there. I wanted to take a picture there. It was the building was a gay nightclub. I said, no, I don't want to take a picture. Last month, on the 11th of July, I went there with some other people again. So I said, let's go and check what is there. So we find that that place is now a spa, a business thing. This is the same building, yes? What happened to this thing? It was just the other thing was just across the street on the other side. Then I asked the workers there, where's the manager of this thing, of this spa? They called him. He was a young Scottish man. He came and I was talking to him and I was telling him about this story. And he said he knew everything that happened there before. But it was now spa, it's a business place. It's, if when you go to Cape Town one day, you leave your center of Cape Town to Sea Point, number 35. I was talking to this manager now, the owner of the business, I think, is of Scottish descent. He's from Johannesburg. And I was telling him this story. That was last month. The senior owner of that barber shop was Timothy Nangolo. He's late now. Both of them are late. Then Timothy Nangolo had an automobile. I used to borrow this automobile to go and recruit people from the outskirts of Cape Town. And including this Tobias Nyeko, you read perhaps, who became a senior military personnel of SWAPO. I went to recruit them in the outskirts of Cape Town there. Then the response of the former contract workers in Southwest Africa was overwhelming. Then 1958, I sent a taped message to the United Nations. In those days, tape recorders were not there. But fortunately for me, Comrade Dennis Goldberg, he knew a Dutch man who was in Cape Town. He had a tape recorder about this size. We borrowed that tape recorder, we recorded it, and we sent it to Burumba Gerina to pass it on to the General Assembly, or to the Committee of United Nations. Then I thought, no, maybe this will be intercepted by the South African security. So I sent a letter in the book. He sent me a book. The book was written by Robert Stevenson. I just cannot recall now the title of the book. In the middle of the book, I cut a few pages to fit in the cassette. So I sent this thing to him, but the letter arrived first before this cassette, and we gave it to the Committee on Southwest Africa. They listened to it. When this cassette came and he wanted it played before the Committee on Southwest Africa, they said, no, we know the contents of that letter. And that led now to my expulsion from Cape Town. Because they traced it, where did this thing come from? The South Africans now. Until they discovered that it came from me, I was given 72 hours to leave Cape Town. Or else. So I left Cape Town, and this Kodongwidi I mentioned earlier, who was at Fort Hare, he studied BA at Fort Hare. Then he was sent to represent the students of Fort Hare at NUSA's conference in Cape Town. And when he came there, it was at that time when I was given 72 hours to leave. So we left together on the 4th of December, 1958. Most of the security officers from Cape Town, they were there to see that we left. Particularly me. So I left. And then we realized that these security people who also informed their colleagues in Southwest Africa, and they are waiting for us. So we decided to break our journey in Kitmans. So we broke our journey in Kitmans. He knew somebody there who was a clerk in the magistrate office, and I knew a friend of mine who was a police officer. We stayed there for about 2 days, and then we decided he must come ahead of me, and I would follow him. So we stayed there. He came, and he instructed, because I didn't know Windhoek by then. I only passed, as I went to South Africa during the war, and when I went back, said, when you come to Windhoek now, don't enter the main station. You get off the train at one of the suburbs, and you find us there. That's what we had. We did. When I came at one of the suburbs, they were there to meet me. I got off the train, and we drove into the city in cars. Then the chief, Jose Akutako, who was the leader of the Herero Council, they were waiting for us. It was on a Sunday. I had a meeting with them Sunday, and he was persuading me to stay in Windhoek. I said no. He said, no, if you go to the north, those people don't know politics, you are going to suffer there. I said, I'm going to face whatever is waiting for me there. He said, all right, if that is the case, tomorrow Monday, you must go to the pass office and get a pass to stay in Windhoek. Otherwise, if they find you here, you go to jail. Okay, the following day, Kolomide and I went to the pass office. We found a white clerk there. He asked me, are you Toivo? Yes. Are you the one who wrote letters to America? I said, yes. Where's your pass? We had something called a reference book. We gave it a name, Dom Pass. It's just like a passport, but it was only for South Africa. I gave it to him. He says, stay there. I'll come back to you. Then, after he did his work, he came back to me and said, you are the one who wrote letters to America? I said, yes. I'm asking you to stay here so that we can give you a job here. Because if you go to the north, you will come and work on the contract system again. I said, no matter what happens, I'm going to the north. He asked me, how long do you want to stay here? I said, for a week. But I said 2 weeks. I only want to stay for a week. He gave me a pass to stay here for a week. 2 weeks. Then I stayed for a week. Before the expiry of the second week, I left. In Tsumeb, up in the north, we found the buses used to travel between Tsumeb and Ondangwa every Monday, only on Mondays. We found the bus leaving for Ondangwa. Say, maybe we will get another bus tomorrow. After the bus has left, I went to ask the railway clerk, when shall we get a train again, a bus again? He said, next Monday. It was Monday. In between, there was Christmas. That day, I went to town to do something and buy newspapers. I met somebody there whom I knew from our school days, and he was working for the Tsumeb mine. He said, come, we go to the compound and we have lunch there. I agreed, we went there. The compound had two fences, the outer one and the inner one. So I sat between the two. He gave me lunch. I left for the railway station. My colleague who was looking after our luggages told me that there were 8 policemen looking for me. And they left. And after that, 5 of them came back. And they said they will come back again. I said, all right, if that is the case, then I'm not going to leave now. They didn't come back the same day. Following day, I went to the town again to do some banking transactions. I met somebody again whom I knew. Come, we'll go to the compound and have lunch. I agreed. I sat under a tree where I sat the previous day. He went in. He came back and he said he overheard the manager of the mine telling his assistant that there was a dangerous man in town, and he was told by the police if they see this dangerous man, they must arrest him. Okay. While I was sitting there, another man, a police of the mine, came, and somebody I knew also from home, and he said, the compound manager wants to see you and talk to you. I said, who is the compound manager? And so I said, he doesn't know me, I don't know him. What does he want to talk to me? No, he knows, he heard about you, your brother was working here, he heard about you. I said, no, he persuaded me. It's somebody I knew from home, so he convinced me, I went. Then I think his name was McFarlane, Canadian, if I'm not mistaken. He said, are you Mr. Toivo? Yes. Are you the one who sent letters to America? I said, yes. But how did you come here? I said, I walked through that road. He said, come. We stood at the window. He said, you see that board there, outside? On that board it's written, trespassers will be prosecuted. And I'm going to prosecute them. I said, as you please. Telephone, the police came. When the police came, they invited the policeman who persuaded me to go there in the office. I don't know what they were talking about. They came out. They asked me, where are your luggages? My luggages are at the railway station. So we are going to pick up your luggages and bring them here. So, all right. They went, they came back and said, we must search the bags of this man. This is a clever man. And indeed I was clever, because I knew I could not carry documents. I was only carrying clothes. My bags were only full of clothes. When they checked, there was not a single paper. But I sent my paper through the railway back up to Ondangwa. They checked, there was nothing. They said it was on Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, it was Christmas Day. They said, we are going to charge you for trespassing because you went to the mine compound without authorization. Lock him up. I was locked up. Christmas came, Friday. Saturday, I was taken to Boxing Day, I was taken to the magistrate. Said, we are going to charge you for trespassing because you went to the mine compound without authorization. And we are going to charge you, and if you are ready, you can pay admission of guilty. You can pay £2 something. I had the money. Said, yes, I'm going to pay. Where am I going to pay? They said, you can go and pay there. I went there to pay. They said, no. They said, another offense you have committed. What is it? For leaving Southwest Africa without proper documents. At that time, South Africa had a law. Ethiopia helped the democratization of South Africa and independence of Southwest Africa. That law was in existence. If you leave the country without the proper documents, when you come back, they can charge you for leaving the country without proper document. and you can give evidence, or you can agree to work with them, giving them information of your organization and things like that. And I said, no, I'm not going to work with you. Lock him up. And you cannot even pay this admission of guilt. I was kept in solitary confinement. Then after 2 weeks or so, they came back and said, we are going to take you to Ondangwa on an escort. They brought all the documents that were found on my personnel, but this traveling document I was given in Windhoek was not there. I said, I'm not going to sign this document. Sign it, the magistrate said, sign it, or else I send you to Grootfontein for another 3 months. I said, well, as you please. Lock him up. The current president, and this is Shono we are talking about, they were working in Tsumeb now. Hage was also there in Tsumeb as a teacher. There was somebody, Godfrey Waseb. He was the one who, they were small, he was the one who heard about me, and I think he saw me, and he went to report to the others. He's still here, but he studied in Sweden. That's how they heard about me. Hage was teaching there. Then I was asking myself, what am I going to do now? I don't know anybody here. I don't know any lawyer here. What shall I do? Next time they come and say, I must sign, I will sign and face what will come to me in Ondangwa. After then, I was taken out of solitary confinement. I was mixed with the other prisoners. These prisoners were prisoners who deserted their farm works and or they beat up their bosses. Then when I there put in politics, then they came. We are going to take you to Ondangwa on an escort. Okay, sign here. I said, let me go and face what will come here. Signed, they took me under an escort. As we were traveling in that convoy of buses, there was also a driver who was driving the new native, or who brought the retired native commissioner to Window, and he took the new one, and he was traveling with us. At somewhere Namtuni, we stopped there. This driver, I knew him from home. He came to me and said, I have a letter for you from Semnema. I never met Semnema before. Okay, but I'll give it to you when we get home. We arrived in Ondangwa, and when we arrived in Ondangwa we stopped at a place where the buses used to stop. Who wrote letters to America? I said, yes. He said, I'm also new here, and I heard about you from the magistrate in Tsumeb yesterday, and I want you and I to work together. Forget about the past. I said, no, I cannot work together with you. Then he asked his clerks there. Or he asked me, who is your chief? I told him the name of my chief. Then he asked his white clerks, how can I get hold of this chief? The clerk said, no, we can go and pick him up. So they went to get him, and they brought him. How this happened, I don't know. The senior headman of my area was there, around there. The secretary of the tribe was also around there. But I think this was just perhaps a coincidence. When the chief came, he was invited by the new native commissioner. They had their caucus there. I was called in. The chief asked me, "What's your name?" I told him. But the chief and my mother grew up together. But perhaps he didn't want to show this to the native commissioner or what, I don't know. But how did it happen that you had to write letters to America without consulting your senior headman? I said, in Cape Town where I was, there was no senior headman. That's what I did there. Then he said to the native commissioner, "This man has been away from home and from the tribe. He has forgotten the tribal customs. Give him to me, and I'll go and try to teach him the tribal customs." All right, take it. The native commissioner gave a car to this man, and we drove to the palace. Then, when we arrived at the palace, I appeared before a court. There was somebody called Anania Shipena. He was the judge in my case. And my senior headman and the secretary of the tribe were there. They were questioning me. After that, the chief said, "Take this man," telling my senior headman, "take this man with you, and whenever you come to the tribal meetings, bring him along." We stop there today. Then we continue perhaps tomorrow or Sunday. I'm tired now.